first down. They hand off to Marlon Mack. Huge hole, 50-yard line. He's at the 40, still going near sideline. He's at the 10. He's at the 5, and he will score. Touchdown, Marlon Mack. Touchdown, INDY. And again, it's picked up. It's Darius Leonard. Leonard with his second INT, and he's streaking down the near sideline. He's at the 40. He's at the 30. He's at the 20. He's going to go. A pick six for the Maniac.
Horseshoe is back, baby. The horseshoe is back.
A couple words real quick, and then we'll get to some questions.
Yeah, well, it's great to be with you guys. I mean, since we got a good small group here, can we just say hello? Can you guys give me a quick shout out and just tell me who you are and how long you've been there, and just give me a chance to get to know you a little bit.
So, hey Frank.
Yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Okay, thank you. Hey Frank, I'm Michael Terrazas, a big fan of the Colts. Happy you're our head coach. We're blessed to have you. I have been with the Brawl Network. I just started with them, probably about 7 months ago. I just started my own podcast about a year ago. Huge, passionate fan for sports. Been the biggest Colts fan for a long time, and just happy to be here and happy to meet you.
Great. Thank you.
Patrick, you want to go next?
Yeah, Coach Patrick Durfline, D-Line Sports, here with my co-host, Jeremy Swoops. Honor to sit down and talk with you guys. Matt, appreciate all the hard work you've done to put all this together for us.
Thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate that. Joel, you want to go next?
Sure. This is Joel Beoku. I'm here with Say It Again Sports. And so I've been working with them for the last couple months. We have a podcast and talk quite a bit about the Colts. So excited to be able to actually catch up with you and get a word with you.
Great.
Justin?
Yeah, Justin here. Big Colts fan for my entire life. Started off with the Brawl Network and Colts Brawl. Started my own podcast as well with Joel at Say It Again Sports. We try to cover all sports, but we often talk about the Colts a little way too much sometimes. But who can talk about the Colts too much?
Derek?
Hi, Frank. My name's Derek Larger. I'm a co-host of the Bring the Juice Colts podcast. We started it back in 2019, right after the 2019 season. We now have hit just almost 2,500 subscribers now. Been huge Colts fans ever since I was born. Just wanted to say I'm glad to have you as our head coach, and it's an honor to meet you.
Anthony, you there? You want to introduce yourself? Yep.
Yes, sir. My name is Anthony. I just started out with the Brawl Network with Mike and Justin a few months ago. I'm a writer for their team. I was just on their podcast yesterday, and I'm just a big Colts fan, man. I'm just real blessed to have you as our coach, and it's good to meet you.
And Chris? Not sure if he's on mute or not. Okay. All right, very good.
All right. Well, appreciate that, guys. And, I look forward to getting to know you guys as the season goes on. And, obviously time is always limited all the time, but, Matt and the staff here does a great job of, trying to help out. So if there's ever any special projects that we can help out, we can't promise that we can do everything, but I really appreciate what you guys do. And I really do believe that in many ways, we just all work together. We all work together to do something to do something really fun that we all enjoy doing for a game that we love. And it's very entertaining to people and people are interested. So when I can help out, I'm always happy to help out. But I just know that I see it as a partnership. I really do see it as a partnership, to promote the game, to promote the Colts. And so we appreciate, your support. And I know that sometimes when we lose, you're going to say some hard things. That's okay. Just so you know, we're still friends. Okay. If you say I made a bad call, if I went for it on fourth down and you're yelling and screaming, what was Coach Frank doing? And then we get on this call and I look at you and I say, hey, Michael, what are you doing, man? My daughter told me that you said that was a bad call. My son-in-law listens to all your my son-in-law listens to every Colts podcast there is, I think. So But just know, that's all part of it. It's all fun to me. It's all fun. So appreciate what everybody does. So yeah, like we said this morning, just really excited to get going. Rookies are kind of starting to hit stride a little bit. Really impressed with physically where they're at, mentally how they've done this week. We told them that the goal was that when the vets walk in here and we start with them on Monday, we don't want the rookies to have to play catch up. That they had a week. They basically had a week to get up to speed, so that when the vets get here, like, we can't slow down. We can't slow down. So get up to speed. And I think they've done a great job. We're going out and doing these walkthroughs, and you can tell they're mentally tuned in. Their walkthroughs, so they're not running hard, but they look good. They look good. And as football coaches, we get paid to just look at them and say, yeah, he looks like he's good body composition. And even though it's just a little jog through, he's moving well. So just anxious to get going a little further with these guys, get the vets in and get the whole team gelling together.
All right. Jeremy, did you want to start us off? And just a reminder again, if you guys have a question, put your name in the chat function and I'll go ahead and call on you. Go ahead, Jeremy. Yep.
Thank you. Again, thank you for giving us your time, Coach Reich. You are a busy man and there's a lot to get to. So I'll just start off and say, due to the new regulations caused by COVID-19, are there any of the traditions that you guys have, like for training camp and with rookies and new free agents, that you're going to have to miss out on, and have you guys thought about that going into this season?
Yeah, great question. Because, we hold traditions very near and dear to the heart, right? There is, as I said this morning, there is a new normal, but there's still, some of the traditions will still remain sacred. I mean, we always do fun stuff like, the rookies will still have to sing in front of the group. We'll still kind of have a rookie show that we do some fun little traditions like that. From an on the field standpoint, we really won't be restricted that much, so the traditions of, how we set up our practices and what we do, really it's just, really what we want to do is just give everybody an opportunity to make this team. And, we got 90 guys on the roster, and everybody who's on the roster we feel has a legit chance to make this team. So it's our job as coaches to set this thing up to try to give everybody a fair shot to develop and to show what they have. And without preseason games, that puts even more of an emphasis on how we structure practice and the competitive nature of practice. So we might actually create a few new traditions that can be good because we got no preseason games. So we're looking forward to that.
Michael, you want to go ahead? Oh, you got to unmute there.
Good?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. Frank, one of the most special, intriguing positions there is to watch in training camp is the wide receiver position. And this is sort of a two-parter. One undrafted free agent I've grown to like a lot is DeMichael Harris. He is a really fast and speedy, shifty player. How do you evaluate the wide receiver group with how much depth there is, and if he makes it past the unfortunate cuts you guys are going to have to make, how much of a big emphasis can he make and a statement he can make in this offense?
Yeah, I mean, he, like you said, Michael, he's fast and he's quick. I was impressed with him during the OTA meetings. He has a really good presence about himself. You can tell it's not going to be too big for him. So, I've had a chance to see him in the walkthroughs here. He's handled everything mentally well. I'm excited to see him get the ball in his hands. And I know this guy's an explosive player. So get the ball in his hands, get pads on, and give him an opportunity to prove himself. One of the things that, with this new normal we have is the practice squad is bigger. And we always have a view that every year, even in previous years, that our practice squad players are part of our roster because most of them end up being on the active roster at some point. And we just probably feel like that's going to even be more the case this year. So looking forward to see what he has. Looking forward to seeing him bring some juice.
Anthony, go ahead.
Hey, Frank. So my question is, I just seen that Philip just came in yesterday, and my question was that how motivated is Philip, coming in, with a new team and everything? He's a veteran in this league, but he's coming in like knowing the playbook, being with you in San Diego and everything. So how motivated is Philip, for the season coming up?
Yeah, I mean, this guy, I've known him for a while. This guy is motivated all the time. He wakes up motivated. It doesn't take much to get him going. He loves ball. He loves the locker room, the teammate, everything about it. This being his 17th year, he and I, we had a team meeting this morning. We had a team meeting this afternoon, and after the meeting was over, he and I sat there and talked for an hour. Just talked ball for just an hour. Just, his day was over because it was at the end of the day for him, and it was really the first time we had a chance to sit down and talk at depth, but just talk through the roster. And he was talking through even the little bit of throwing he's done with with some of his new teammates, and just listening to him talk about his new teammates. That was really exciting. It was exciting to him. It was exciting to me. So I can't wait. He already looks so good. I told him he already looks good in that blue horseshoe. He had a blue sweatshirt on with the horseshoe, and I've already gotten used to looking at him in it. So that feels good to me. Really looking forward to the impact that he's going to have on this team.
All right, Justin.
Hey, Coach. So last year there was a huge emphasis on the run game, which I think has really helped the offense, in all honesty. This year we draft Jonathan Taylor, we bring on Roosevelt Nix. How is this going to really affect the way that the offense runs, and what's that pass run ratio going to look like this year?
Yeah, that's good. That's good, Justin. Yeah, real big run emphasis. That's going to continue to be a big emphasis. We just believe that's part of the winning formula. In a pass-happy league, at the end of the day, when you look at it, it's not 100%, but a lot of the teams that are in it at the end, and it's not always everyone, but most of them can run the football. And so, we're going to continue to put an emphasis on it. The exact percentages, I always like to say, guys, like in the perfect world, the perfect game is you run for 150 yards and you throw for 250 plus. You know what I mean? You throw for 250 plus. You get about 65 plays. Phillips, 21 for 30 for 250, and then we've got 35 runs. We got 35 runs for 4 point something to carry, because at the end we're running 4-minute offense and we're just grinding it out. And so that's 65 plays. That's a nice stat line. That's a nice stat line. One of the things that we want to do, Justin, that better than what we did last year is we had multiple games that we were over 200 yards rushing, which is hard to do in this league, let alone do it several times. But we also had some games where we just got stymied, where we did nothing. And so we want to be a more consistent team. We don't want to walk. I know there's good defenses that it's hard to run against, but we're good enough on offense that we should be able to run the ball against anybody. So I don't know. I'm just talking to you guys here. I've never really had this as a goal. Maybe this will be a new goal for us as we're talking, that we have no less than 100 yards in any game. I wonder if that's ever been done before. I don't know if anybody can look that up, but that would be an interesting stat to me. Has any team ever gone a whole year? They probably have. It's probably not that hard to do. I don't know. But we need to be more consistent.
All right, Derek.
All right, Coach. So I want to talk to you about Julian Blackmon. I really like his awareness and his toughness and the speed at which he plays the game. Not a lot of safeties that play with the aggressiveness that he does. Kind of reminds me a lot of Bob Sanders back 15 years ago. So obviously he's dealing with his rehab still, dealing with that ACL. But even though he's not been able to work out a whole lot, what's he been like in the meetings, adjusting to schemes and everything else with his teammates, and how close is he to 100%?
Yeah, thanks, Derek. He's doing great. I agree with you. He's an extremely aggressive player. You could see that on the tape. You can feel that talking to him, that he's got that mindset. He's a very, very instinctive player. You can feel that about him as well. Again, that shows up on the tape. So, and physically, he's doing well. I mean, he's definitely ahead of schedule. He's making very good progress, and we're very optimistic about him playing early in the season. And he's been great. He's been great in meetings. In fact, just today, I had, like I said, I pop in and out of meetings, but I had a long conversation out on the field today with Alan Williams, who coaches the safeties, just kind of talking to him about it more in depth about his perception of the safeties that he's had in his room so far. And he just had a lot of positive things to say about Julian.
Chris Shepard, I see you put your name in. If you can, you want to do a quick introduction and then ask your question?
Yeah, sure. My name is Chris Shepard. I'm with Stampede Blue. Coach, you and I actually talked down at the Senior Bowl and had a good chat there. But anyway, the thing I wanted to ask you today, when I talked to you at the Senior Bowl, I asked you specifically about quarterbacks and wide receivers, and I didn't think there was any chance I'd have to ask you about a running back. But sure enough, you guys went out and took Jonathan Taylor. And just looking ahead to week one, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. You guys ran for 134, 35 yards a game. What would you set the over-under at for team rushes in week one? I'm thinking 40, 45.
Oh, that's great. I love that. That sounds like a good number to me. I'm all in on that number. Jacksonville's a very good defense. They always have been. So, but we definitely want to go down there and be physical and dominate. And there's no better way to do that than in the run game. But one of the things that you definitely learn in this league is that you need to have the mindset that we are going to impose our will by running the football. But, but we also need to make plays in the passing game. So, I'm not opposed, and I know we have the talent on offense that if we have to throw it 50 times to win a game, I'm more concerned about getting the W than I am making sure we get 100 yards rushing in every game. You'd like both of those things to happen automatically, but so we will want to run the football. It'll be nice and toasty down there in Jacksonville. It'll be nice and toasty down there in Jacksonville week one. We've talked a lot about that, getting our players in shape for that. And, if we could establish the run, in the heat and humidity and break a team down, I'm sure they're going to try to do the same thing to us. They're going to try to do the exact same thing to us. So it'll be a good matchup.
Patrick, you want to go ahead?
And excuse me. And Chris, I do remember the conversation down at the Senior Bowl. We had a chance to stand there, talk for a while on the sidelines. It was good meeting you down there.
Yeah, Coach, I just wanted to go back on some of the new norms that you was talking about earlier and see if you could explain some of the changes in your coaching style that you have to make with this unprecedented season as far as evaluating the rookies and the free agents and putting the best team on the field that you can with your arms being tied behind your back, if you will, this season.
Yeah. So, part of the new normal is just the schedule, knowing that, hey, you got to come in and test the first thing, part of the day. Right now we're testing every day. So, like, for instance, we adjusted the schedule at least to start out, where our first walkthrough, which is normally a little bit early, normally around 10 o'clock, we pushed it back to 11 because we know we got to test and we still got to do everything else we got to do. So part of the new normal is just doing stuff like that. The new normal as far as evaluating guys is knowing there's no preseason games, just creating situations in practice. We always do that anyway, but there'll probably be a few more live periods in practice than there might normally be, just to get better evaluation on things and get some work on tackling and stuff like that that we need. So those are a couple of the examples I can think of the kind of new normal.
Joel?
Hey, Frank, thanks for taking the time out for us. This is Joel with Say It Again Sports. I wanted to ask about DeForest Buckner and how he was starting to get acclimated, especially with not being able to work with the team as much, and figure out what your emphasis on defense will be this year.
Yeah, DeForest, obviously haven't seen him out on the field yet because we're still, waiting for the vets to totally get cleared for that. But what you could tell, Joel, was, is it Joel or is it Joel?
It's Joel. You got it right.
Yeah, that's my fault. I mispronounced it.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah,
no, you said it right. But when I look at it, I just wanted to make sure
it's spelled. Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I got it right. Anyway, so it was, I don't know, you just think you get it. You know how it is. I mean, you guys, you talk to someone, you think you get a feel for him. And, DeForest immediately, like, oh my goodness, this guy's the real deal. You can feel his humility. You can feel his presence, his confidence. You can feel he's a good teammate. And then just physically, you can tell even looking at him over a Zoom call that he's a big man. So I'm really excited to see the impact he's going to make on this defense. You guys have heard us talk. You guys know this as well as anybody. We talk a lot about the importance of the 3 technique. We're building this team inside out. That's what Chris and I have said from day one. This team needs to be built inside out. That's why you get guys like Quentin Nelson and DeForest Buckner, Darius Leonard. You build it inside out and builds that strong foundation. So, really expecting DeForest to come in and make a big impact because he's one of those rare players that he can be dominant in both the run game and pass rush from a 3 technique. And the reason is he's just physically good, but he's long. He's got length, but he's got quickness and suddenness in the pass rush game. And then he's got a high motor. So, and then he's a good teammate and he's smart and all those other things. So really thinking that he's going to make a huge impact.
All right, we can take a few more here. Michael, you want to go ahead?
Yes, Frank. With Jacob Eason, he had the biggest arm in the draft. We all knew that. I liked him. When it comes to no preseason games, will that sort of push back his developmental process without, seeing a new defense, seeing new players? And what are some of the things that you are excited to get and work on with him that you weren't able to do so virtually?
Yeah, just fun seeing him throw. But yeah, I mean, first of all, to answer the first question, Michael, it does hurt the development a little bit, but it's just the way it is for all the rookies. So, you just got to work extra hard at it. We really believe that, and as a guy who was a backup quarterback for a lot of years personally and not getting a lot of reps and still figuring out ways to get better, you just look at it like that's just the challenge. That's just the reality. But I think Jacob's done a nice job. I've been in a lot of the quarterback meetings, and just seeing his understanding early on. I met with him several times, one-on-one, just going over some stuff, protections and stuff like that. And you can feel his aptitude. He's got a really good aptitude. And even just for the few days that we've been out here, I mean, he's the only quarterback out on the field right now in these walkthroughs. So he's doing a very good job mentally. And, we're doing walkthroughs, but a lot of times at the end of it, he's still throwing the football. And he throws, we all knew this, like you said. I mean, you can just watch him throw the ball. The guy knows how to throw the football. So it's just going to take some time. The quarterback position is a big jump. He's behind a couple guys that are really, in Phillip and Jacoby that he can learn from and have time to grow. So, and then he's competing with Chad for that number 3 spot, and it'll just be fun to see how that plays out in camp.
All right, Derek, you want to go ahead?
There we go. All right, Coach. So I want to ask you about another player, Trey Burton, obviously another player that you know very well, comes in, adds to that tight end group after you guys obviously lost Eric Ebron to free agency this year. So I look at Trey Burton as complementing Jack Doyle really well. Another guy that can run block, can catch, do all of these things. We all know Phillip Rivers is a very tight end friendly quarterback. We've seen it throughout his entire career. How excited are you to add Trey Burton to this list? And are we going to see a lot more double tight end packages for the offense this year?
Yeah, I mean, Trey will play a significant role. You guys know I had Trey in Philadelphia, and he is an extremely, extremely skilled route running tight end. Of the tight end, I've been around some really, really good tight ends. Trey's right up there with the best of them as far as being a good route runner. And he plays really smart. He plays very instinctive, and he's fast. I mean, he's fast. So I expect a big contribution from Trey this year. And you're right, Derek, that there is he will complement Jack Doyle and Mo Alley Cox. And the thing with Trey is he's such a good receiver that you can extend him outside of the formation. You can put him out wide if you're getting a lot of man coverage, and if he's one-on-one on a safety, that's a big-time matchup. If he's one-on-one on a linebacker, that's a big-time mismatch. And then we know he can throw the ball too. You never know. We might have some kind of reverse for him. I mean, the guy, he can do it all.
All right. And Justin, you got the last one for us here.
No pressure here, right?
Yeah.
Justin, Colts Brawl Network again. So this might be a little unclear with everything being so fluid with COVID and changing every day, but do you see there being a place, like a special list for each of the teams that have players throughout the season that test positive for COVID, or do you think it's going to end up taking spaces on the 53-man roster just like normal injuries would?
Well, they are making, the league, thank goodness, is they're making some exceptions about how the roster can move, how guys can move more freely to and from the practice squad, obviously bigger practice squad. There's the COVID injury reserve list, as it all gets finalized. It'll be, hopefully it's not necessary, but it probably will be. The way Chris and I keep talking about it is, let's just not flinch no matter what happens. Let's just not flinch. We can handle anything. We'll get guys ready to play. We'll figure it out. We'll adapt and we'll adjust. We would love for the best case scenario happen that no one goes down and everyone stays healthy. But we've talked about all this. We've talked about I think all the scenarios we can. I mean, and we're trying to do the best we can to have a plan for all those scenarios, including with coaches as well. I've already talked through with the coaching staff in detail, what happens if this coach goes down, or this coach, or these two coaches to go down, or who's calling the game if I go down, or who's calling the game if Flus goes down. So every scenario that you can think of that could happen as from players and coaches, we're talking about all. I can't say we've hit everyone. We're trying to hit them all, but we're just going to have to adapt and adjust as we go. And I think the league is doing a good job giving us the tools to be able to do that in the right way.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Appreciate it,
Thank you, Frank.
And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Enjoy it. Take care.
Thanks, Matt.
God bless.
Have a good night, guys.